Jonas Vingegaard has started at the top of proceedings, and it was reasonably bright. We actually had some shadows when he came off the start ramp, and a lot of expectation, I think, upon the shoulders of this man. In the absence of Primož Roglic, who's decided to go and play elsewhere, then this man is the race's out-and-out favourite. Essential then for him to get off the mark with a spectacular time trial. Well, let's see how he went, shall we? Well, he kind of rolled away. It wasn't exactly full attack, but using the ramp, he kind of picked it up. A couple of the corners were a big warning to him, however, even in relatively dry circumstances. Well, when you're dealing with so many 90-degree turns, most of which are left-handers, as you're doubling back on yourself, coming down the outer road on the ocean side and then coming back, returning on the other side of the road. So those 90-degree turns will ring large, of course, almost as a constant throughout this. At the preliminary intermediate checkpoint, Vingegaard was looking handy. He was, when he stopped the clock, he'd actually looked like he was in charge for the day. He's often running a negative split, so this would not have frightened him at all. Into a classic position, and well, they say about sports cars, if they look quick, they probably are quick, and at this point anyway, he looked to be going extremely strongly. Well, after the turnaround, things perhaps just changed a little bit. The motorcycles were staying with him, absolutely locked on his backside. At peace with himself? Not sure. First look at the corners they've got to deal with, and a really nasty one as an introduction, as you just saw. Yeah, this earlier on today, so the few jumps within our pictures as we just bring you the highlights of his run. You do get sight, of course, of those who are on the other side of the road, and this is our introduction to our finale. That double check said an awful lot. He was carrying a lot of speed into it, speed he had to shed, of course. Now, Van Unden's time on your screen at the intermediate, and Jonas Vingegaard, well, staying green at that point. 9 seconds to the good. And then all he had to do was bring it home on the other side of the road. Well, it's time to bring in Robbie McEwen. Robbie, this man, a lot of expectations upon his shoulders, and living up to that billing, sometimes it can be a burden.
It can be a burden, but he's totally used to it. And let's look back around, what was it, a week ago, where he just absolutely dominated Gran Camino once again. But that all aside, there's one thing is a thorn in my eye, Carlton, and I know it's lit up social media. It's a firm no from me on these helmets. They're ridiculous.
Well, for somebody who used to keep sea turtles...
there you go. I told you I'd hold it in as long as I could.
It wasn't long, was it? I think you less than a minute before the critique began. Well, Jonas Vingegaard can set himself into a lovely rhythm. We know that when it comes to the GC men, he's possibly amongst the best as far as time trialing is concerned. However, there is... I think there's been some questions shilly-shallying there just around a highlighted drain cover that was a little bit loose. And this was Vingegaard coming in. Now, Van Unden, there had only been 2 riders who'd gone before him out there. So he was extraordinarily early starting. You'd expect him then, maybe with not too much information coming in off the course from teammates, because, of course, he was the first of his team to start as well, and separating himself from Pipo Garner by almost the entire field. Well, you'd expect Vingegaard to be in charge. 18 seconds, was that going to be enough over the likes of Casper Van Unden and Alex Tullio? Did that, Robbie, tell us that perhaps it wasn't an all-in move from this man?
It's just, without the graphic or a race number on, it's really hard to tell who it actually is. But no, I think there's been a bit of thought go into this in terms of what they thought the weather might do. Get him off early, so they've gone with a decision and hopefully beat the rain that may come in.